Hi, welcome to Java 2. In this video, I'm going to go over chapter 15, exercise number 15.9, where we're going to draw lines using the arrow keys. Okay, so this is as shown in this picture up here in B. So it says to write a program that draws line segments using the arrow keys. And the line starts from 100, 100. So that's the X and the Y coordinate system, X and so I'm assuming that both the starting point and end points are at the same place. Okay, so line starts from this coordinate in the pane and draws toward east, north, west, or south when the right arrow key, up arrow key, left arrow key, or down arrow key is pressed, as shown in this figure up here. Okay, so when you run this application, you see a blank screen or something, you have a starting point, maybe like around here, it looks like, and then you press the arrow key up, it goes up, and then left and right, and so on, to draw those lines. Okay, so to tackle this problem, first we have to understand what line is like, right? So I'm going to go to this section where it's discussed about line. I think it's in chapter 14. If you look in the shape area, okay, shapes, and here's the line. Okay, so a line connects 2 points with these 4 parameters. Okay, we have the start X, start Y, and X and end Y points. So, and then if you look at this UML, we have these 4 properties, plus we have 2 constructors. One is an empty constructor, which allow you to set these points manually, or with a method call. So you will see that, as you remember in Java 1, we learned that when you create properties, then you usually create setters and getters, right? So that when you create a blank line using this constructor, then you can do the set, start at X, set start Y, and so on. Okay, or you can use a second constructor, which you can right away supply the starting and ending positions in here. Okay, so here is the anatomy of the line. So the line starts at 0, 0. On this coordinate system in Java is always on the upper left corner. Always starts from there, and then you're moving to the right direction is in the positive X direction. Negative will be to the left. For the Y coordinate system is positive is downward and the negative is upward. Okay, so just make sure we understand what this line looks like. So if the example asks us to start at 100, 100, so that means we're just going to basically see a dot, right? Because both endpoints and starting points is at the same location. So to understand this a little bit better, I'm going to show you a simple graph here. And let's just say that if I want to add a line, and so I'm going to add a marker in here, just a basic shape. Let's just say that right here, if 100, 100 starts right here. Well, let me just be nicer. So that's 100, 100, right? You will see, if I zoom in, you see just a dot there. All right. So that is the 100, 100. And then, so the starting position, if I do this, X. So X1, right, would be at 100. X2, well, X1, Y1, they're both 100. And same thing with Y2, right? X2, Y2. That's the end point. X2 is also 100. Y2 is also 100. Okay? Now, to draw a line, and then depending on the size or the length of the line, we'll have to determine how many dots we move across or up and down when you press the left or the right arrow key. So let's just say that I want to draw a line from here to the right. So basically I'm going to move, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? When you do that though, let me undo this. I'm going to copy a new one, put it here. When I do that, basically I'm just saying I'm going to move this line, new line, starting at the same position right here. Right, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 spaces. So my starting point is here, the same place. My endpoint though will be over here. If this is 100, then this will be 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the x2 will be 105, while the y will still be in the same, right? 100. I did not change y. I've just changed x in this example. Okay, and then if I move downward, then I'm going to move from this starting position. So I have to reset my new position from 100 to the new position, which is 105. So I move to 105 now. So when that happens, to draw my next new line from that endpoint, I have to update everything to 105. So basically, this will be at 105. The y will still be the same, right? I'm not changing the y. I'm just changing the x to 105 to match the new x position. The y will still be the same. If I'm moving down though, if I'm going down this direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now my axis, right, starting and still be the same axis, so they don't change. My new y2 though is going to be changed to 105. Okay, starting from this y position to the new y down here. Then after the line is drawn, then I reset my new box, which is going to be right here now, sitting here. When that happens, then now I have to change my new y1 to be 105, same as this one. And then which way I want to go now. If I want to go to the left, then I'm going to move my x direction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means that the y stays the same. The x1 will be at 105. x2 though is going to go minus 105, right? So I'm going back to 100. So this line goes this direction. So you can see how this works. So and then I want to start the next new line, then I have to move my x1, instead of starting here, back to here, the new place. So now it's going to be set at 100. So it's the same as the endpoint. Okay, we're not doing any diagonal movements. If we do, we have to update both x and y. But in this case, we're just moving up, down, left, or right, right? So, okay, so we understand this, right? All right. So now let's move into our code and see if we can start this application. And in there, so here I'm going to create a new project. I'll just call it is the JavaFX project. I can find it. So here's JavaFX project, and I'm just call this one chapter 15 lab 15.9. Okay, or exercise 59, however you call it, it's fine. Okay, finish. Okay, so in here is my source, and I'll just keep as default my main application here. You can change to create a new application, new class is fine. I'll just keep this as is. I'm gonna zoom this in just well, yeah, should make this a little bit bigger, but let me see if I can go to File, Preference, under the I think General, Editors, Structure, Appearance, Text Editors. Okay. I forgot what I set that one. I think it is in here. Structure and Appearance. Yeah, I don't remember where, but somewhere in here. Anyways, I was gonna set the font to be a larger size, but I think it should be okay here. So I'm gonna keep these as is. Okay. If well, I want to change some things here, but I'll keep the static main as is. And if you are creating this class manually, then make sure you extend the application and then import the application up here. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this as is. I'll leave the try and catch as is. You can remove it entirely if you want, that's fine too. Instead of border pane, I'm just gonna use the pane. Okay, so I'm gonna change this to pane, and then use the pane, and import the pane library. I'm going to expand my imports here, and all the layouts will be I'll put star for all the layouts. So if I add new layouts, I don't have to worry about importing it again. And then instead of root, I'm just call it pane. And I'll just change this pane here as well. 400, 400. Okay, we can keep that as is. Right, and the rest should be the same. Okay, so make some spaces here. So now, the first thing we need to do is I want to show you how lines work. So let's just say we want to create a new line L1, and remember that we have different constructors, two, right? So if you press Control spacebar, you'll see that you have two options. One is the blank, one is the non-blank. So if you start with the blank, if you do this, right, and let's import the line. This is all scene shape. If you do this, then you add the starting point. You would do like L1 dot set start x, right? Start x here, and then you give it a value at 100. You do start y, and so on, right? So again, if you were using Eclipse, you put your cursor right here, press the Control Alt keys plus the down arrow key to duplicate. So I'll do 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and the start start y, and then need to supply the end x and end y. Right, so they're all starting in the same position. That's one way. Or you could just say, you know what, I know my numbers already, I'm just going to do right here at 100, 100, 100, 100. But this is not really efficient, so you should use variable names. So I can use int x1, y1, x2, y2. And you can set these two numbers, 100, and they're all starting at 100. And this will change, so but initially it will be 100, right? So we keep at 100. And then now these all will be just x1, y1, x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay? And so I'm not going to do this way. I'll remove this. Okay? So it's much faster. So here's my new line. And then I want to add that to my to the pane. So I'll put down here pane.getChildren dot oops, I did something here. Yeah, getChildren dot add all, and then we'll add the L1. And then that adds to the scene, right? And then the scene adds to the stage, and then we show it. So if we run this now, let's see where it starts. It should be the center somewhere. So here it is. Where it's right, kind of hard to see. Okay, so I'll make it a little bit bigger. I'll change the L1. Maybe we'll change the stroke. So set stroke to be let's just say 5 pixels. Okay, and also want to import something. I think. Why do I need to put hold on. It's a line. Set stroke. I think it's a stroke width, maybe. Yeah, stroke width. Okay. So let's run this again. And so right there, this is our starting point. And actually, I want to move this to the right. You know, maybe by 50 pixels. Okay. So to move that line from this position to the next position, you have basically I have to update the x2 position, right? So everything stays the same. So if I move that line from there, I draw a line from that position to the current position, which is 100 plus 50, then you see that the new lines looks like that. Okay. So when I do this, I did not change the actual x2 value. I just do it in the code here. So basically, I'm starting here at 100, 100. I move my x 50 to the right, so my y will still be the same. y1, y2 stay the same. x1 is still the same at 100. X2 is the only one that changes, right? Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. And that's my new line. It starts at that point. And if I start a new line, I'll copy this, put it down here, call this L2. Okay, L2, I want to start at the current position of X1 and Y1, but I'm going to move the X2, okay, to a different position. So X2 should be at plus 50, right? Y2 will still be the same for now. And let me just also change the color of the L2. So we'll just say set color will be, I think, is stroke. Okay, stroke width is the thickness, stroke will be the color. So paint will be just color dot, we'll just use red for now. Import the color, the paint, and make sure this is L2. Red, all caps. So if I run this now, you see that hopefully what's going on? Well, I forgot to add it to the pane. So L2, add that, run. Okay, so we see that from the current position here, we move 50 to the right. So after we move that there, then now we need to update the X2 position, right? So X2, really it should be now X2 plus 50. Okay? And then we also want to move X1 to the same position. So X1 is also going to be the same as X2's new position, right? And if we copy this again, and let's just say we're going to move down. So L3 will be moving down, assuming if we press the down arrow key. So the X2 will be unchanged, right? The Y2 will change. Going down is we're actually adding 50 to the Y2. The Y1 starting will be the same. So let's change L3 to L3, and when we use this as green, and then after that we are going to update not the X, the Y2s. Okay, so now the Y2 changes. We also want to change the Y1 to the new Y2 position, right? So we can start drawing the next line from that point. So if I do this, you'll see that this is the first line, the red. I'm going to draw the green going down. I'll leave this here, and then now I'm going to add the L3 to that pane. If I run, you see that it moves down 3. Initially it was like this. If I press the key down, it goes down. And then I update my new positions for the Y2 and the Y1 because the X is still unchanged. The Y does change, right? The Y coordinate goes in the positive direction. Okay, kind of do what I showed you earlier in that the graph. Then if you're going to move to the left, I'm going to change my X positions, right? So if you do again for line 4, let's do quickly. Line 4 will be changing not the Y but X to the new position. Okay, I'm moving X to the negative direction, so minus 50. The Y will be unchanged. And then here is minus 50. We'll call this purple. Okay, so here we go again. The that's the latest one. And then I'm going to add to the L4. And here is the new position, right? We move there. So the first we draw to the right. We click down key, draw the green. We click to the left, draws the new line. Okay? So that's the idea. So now, if you look at this, it's repeating. So every time we draw, press a key, we are drawing a new line. So we'll have to create a new line L1, L2, L3. As you can see, it goes to L infinity, which is not really efficient. So we want to attach I shouldn't say attach, what's that term? Use a key press event, okay, to the left or right or up down arrow keys. So let's do that. So I'm going to comment these out, okay, and then to comment, just basically highlight, press the control question mark or the forward slash, or you go up here, and I think there's a comment icon somewhere up here. I don't remember where it is, but maybe it's one of these. Well, anyways, so I'm going to remove this as well. Okay, so I'm going to use this example 4 here, and I'm going to set an event. So we're going to attach the event to the pane. You can attach it to the pane or to the scene. Okay, in this case I do the pane. The only thing is that the scene is a very high level container, so there's something called the request focus. You have to call the request focus after the scene has been shown to the stage. So typically if you call a pane, and if you, in order for a key press to work, you have to add to the bottom of here, after the pane has been set to the scene, been displayed, you want to say pane dot request focus, okay, so that it receives the key press event. If you don't do that, it doesn't recognize the key press. So you can attach it to a scene. If you do a scene, then you don't need that down here. In other words, you won't be doing this because it's already high level, so you don't really need it. Okay, but if it's a pane or a text field or another object, then you want to put it down here at the bottom. So now in here, I'm going to say pane dot set on key press. Okay, and we use the lambda expression, so e, and then that curly. Again, this is e. You can call it whatever you want. It could be a or any variable name. It doesn't really matter. Okay, but convention is usually e. And in here, so what are we doing? So we're going to check for the key, right? Key press. And let's just do a really quick review on those key press. So in chapter 15, right in here, under the key events, okay, so key events, you have some methods here. So we're just looking at this thing called the get text, get code, to get a code key. And the code will be one of these down here, these constants. So the home and the page up, page down. So we're looking at the up, down, left, and right arrow keys. Okay, if you're going to use the different characters or different key, then they're all listed here. And again, these are all uppercase letters, so they're all constants. So when you type it, it has to be all uppercase. So we're checking for the get code, and then we'll compare the key code dot home or dot up or down left, right? Okay, so let's go back here, and then so I'm going to check for the, let's just say we do the right key. So I want to say if the e, okay, the e receives all the event, and so e dot get code, if the code equals the key code dot right, that's the right key, right arrow key. If that is true, then move that X in position. Okay, so let's import the key code, and if that is true, then I'm going to say basically you can copy this and put it here. Instead of L4, just put L. Okay, and then the X1, X2, Y1, Y2. Okay, so these we'll have to move this out into the global space, because this is here, and here it's actually in a separate class, right? So in a class you can't really have access to data here. In order to do that, you have to put it into the global space. So I'm gonna move the pane, because later on down here I'm gonna add that to the pane. So down here I'm gonna go something like pane dot get children, right? Okay, dot add. Yeah, it won't let me do it because I don't have that. It's not visible here. So I'm gonna move this, all of these here, to the global space, copy and paste, put it out here. Okay, so they exist in global space. And so now I can say add line just to L. Okay, this is the -50. I'm moving to the right, so really I'm doing a plus. Instead of 50, we'll just say 10. And this is how much we move to the right. So instead of plus 10 here, I'm going to go to global space and I'll add another variable. I'll call it delta. Okay, so it will move 10 spaces in either direction. So here will be the x plus delta. Okay, you could do that, right? Or you could do like, I'll leave that as is, and I'll update the x2 first. So x2 will be x2 plus delta, and then you draw the line from the current position, x and y, and then the new x2 position, the y will be unchanged, and so on. Add that to the pane, and then we also want to update the y, the new x position. The x1 should also be the same as x2, right? So x1 is same as x2. Okay, and what would use the color and the width as well. I'm going to copy this and we'll put it right in here. Put in here just L, and we'll just use one color. Maybe, yeah, just use for now just blue. Okay, so I'm going to comment these. I don't need this anymore. So I'm just going to try the right key, right arrow key, and see if it works. Okay, so let's run this. So I don't have any points here. I didn't show it, which is fine. I'm going to press my right arrow key. So here's a point. This is by 10. If I keep pressing to the right key, you see that I'm adding that to the right. Okay, by 10 pixels. And now let's do the other one. What if I go down? I'm going to copy this, put it here, and this is being else if. Else if the key code is going down, not right but down, then I'm moving not X. Actually, let's do the left first. It's simpler. So move to the left. So basically, I'm just minus delta, and here is, that's it. Okay. So, and I'll change a different color so we can see for the green, for the left. Okay, so the left and the right should work, right? So here's my right. If I go left, okay, change green, okay, the right, okay. So they seem to be working. Now let's add the other two. So I'm going to copy this, and then the up and down. So if it's up, I'm moving in the y2 will go up in the negative direction, right? So y1 should be equal to y2, and we'll change that to red. And then if I move in the down position direction, then y2 should be moving in the positive direction. Okay, this should be positive, and this should be negative. So now, so y1 should be updated to y2, and we'll change this to our purple color. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, so I'll move right. Okay, I'm gonna move down. There you go. Right, up, and left. Okay, up, left, and down, and so on. Okay, so that's just how you would solve this problem. Again, this is just one way. There are other ways as well, I'm pretty sure. So you can change the size of delta to move in, more pixels if you want. But this is one of the ways how you could solve this problem. Okay, so if you have any questions, please send me an email or put a comment here, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you.